Hey everybody! Before this newest episode, I wanted to give you a little message. Unfortunately, the last episode before this that we recorded, we did it on Fast Times at Ridgemont High, and unfortunately, Juan and I are using some new recording software, and during the editing process, it's been giving me some real difficulties. It's really not where I would like it to be, and until I can kind of hammer out those issues, I really don't feel comfortable posting it because I don't think that's fair to you guys. Um, this current episode, there were some of the same issues. I did the best I could to get it listenable. Um, I am going to keep tinkering with it and continuing to try to get it uh, more presentable and better for you guys. But at the same time, I also wanted to let you at least listen to it. And then, as I say, I'm going to continue to tinker with it, and eventually, I'm hoping to repost it, re-edit it. But that being said, Juan and I would both like to extend a big thank you to everybody out there who follows and supports us, and we hope that you will continue to do so and tell your friends about it. And we would really like to continue this into the future and having the podcast grow. And you guys are the ones that do that. So we really want to thank you and hope that you'll continue to support us moving forward. Thanks, everybody, and enjoy the episode. A movie that shows the real inner workings of teenage life in the inner city. We watch Juice, and you are listening to Geeked Out.
Popcorn in our hands, ready for the show. From the classics to the blockbusters, we're always in the know. Throwing references like confetti, we keep it real. Geeked Out Podcast, we make you feel. We're the critics you can trust.
Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Geeked Out. My name is Kyle.
I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about this podcast. I don't give a fuck about myself. No, I'm just playing. I'm Juan. Juan here.
I was going to say, apparently we have the resurrection of Tupac on the podcast.
Nah.
So as you heard in the intro, we watched the movie Juice as we're continuing our back to school month. This was Juan's pick.
Yeah.
Now this, before I get off onto the actual nuts and bolts of the movie, I had never seen this movie before. And even aside from, I had never even heard of it until you mentioned it when we did our Don't Be a Menace episode. So,
Wait.
no, I had never heard of it. This was all brand new to me.
That's crazy. I guess that makes sense. But yeah, that's fine.
Well, I mean, think about it. The movie came out in '92. I was 6. Number
Yeah.
one, this is not the type of type of movie I was watching at 6 years old.
No, this is something you would have to discover by
Yeah.
a third party. Makes sense.
Now
Not in my case.
I'm a little surprised that my brother hadn't found it, because my brother was a big fan of Tupac in the movies. Like, I remember he would watch. I know he's watched Poetic Justice, but I remember him watching Above the Rim almost on a loop. Like, he loved. I don't know if he still does, but he loved that movie when we were kids.
It's a pretty good movie. The craziest edit of all time. Where like a guy on the same, like he passes the ball to himself for an alley-oop.
Oh yeah, that's like Three Ninjas basketball level.
Oh, it's up there. Yeah, so.
Well, why don't we get into the, as I said, the nuts and bolts of this movie. So, as I said, we watched Juice. This movie was originally released January 20th of 1992 with a budget of $5 million and a worldwide box office of just over $20 million. It currently sits at a 7 out of 10 on IMDb. And on Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 81% critic score with a 90% audience score.
Oh, wow.
The movie was directed by Ernest R. Dickerson, and it stars Omar Epps, Tupac Shakur, Khalil Kain, Jermaine Hopkins, Samuel L. Jackson, and Queen Latifah.
Yeah.
The movie is about four inner city teenagers caught up in the pursuit of power and happiness, which they refer simply as the juice. Now, I want to delve into this for a quick second. I don't necessarily like the fact that they called the movie this, because unless I was missing it, I don't remember ever even hearing them say the word juice until there was maybe like 10 to 15 minutes left in the movie.
They said it sparingly throughout the movie. I can't recall the exact scene. I didn't really write that down, but I remember they said it in the beginning. They might have mentioned it in the middle, but everyone remembers the line at the end where they mention it.
Yeah, I kept waiting to hear it, because I was like, if this movie is about this thing, this juice, as it's titled, you would think that would be kind of like a regular part of their conversation, almost like the way the idea of losing their virginity in American Pie, like it's just a constant thing that they're always talking about.
True.
I don't know why that was my comparison, but
But I guess they just when they said it, it was so within the dialogue that if you're not paying attention, you wouldn't really hear it. But they definitely mentioned it at least a few more times before the end.
I get that. So the movie takes place in the inner city of New York, and it focuses on four teenagers: Omar Epps, who plays Q; Tupac Shakur, who plays Bishop; Khalil Kane, who plays Raheem; and Jermaine Hopkins, who plays Steele. Now, these four guys they kind of allude to the fact that they've all been friends for 10, 12 years, whatever, since they were little kids. And right off the bat, from the opening scene, it shows their parents waking them up to go to school. Well, they don't go to school.
No, they don't. At least that day they didn't.
I mean, it seems like they don't go to school very often either. Like, this is a regular daily occurrence that they all just say to their parents, "Yep, I'm leaving," and they all just meet up. I mean, Steele, for example, literally walks through his kitchen holding his books, drops them at the front door, covers them with a scarf, and then takes a boombox and leaves.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't the first time skipping school. It definitely seemed like something they do quite often.
There was one thing in the, I guess we might want to call it a montage of them getting ready in the morning. I'm wondering if you clocked it when it shows Omar Epps getting ready. He's trying on all these different shoes, and you bet your ass he has got a pair of Reebok pumps.
He had quite a few shoes. They were nice. They're all kind of all shoes I would rock today. Yeah, the pumps, of course. I don't know what year they came out, but I'm sure it was around that time.
I would assume probably early 90s.
If that was part of his rotation, those were a hot commodity at that time.
Yeah, no, I mean, right off the bat, like I say, they meet up. They're ditching school. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do, and then it immediately shows them going into a pool hall, and I don't know if they framed it in, like, not incorrectly, but in a way that I didn't notice. But it just shows Q, Omar Epps' character, going around, and there's a guy who wants to buy. I almost thought it was like he was making mixtapes, but clearly he's a DJ and he's making his own personal mixes and then selling them. I kind of thought the movie missed a spot where they didn't really. I don't really feel they explained that well enough, in my opinion. So I kind of sat there going, like, is he just making mixtapes off of like a cassette player and selling them to people? Like, I found it kind of strange. Okay, no, I really wasn't sure, but this pool hall, which they never really give a name to, is where we get to first glimpse Mr. Samuel L. Jackson, the one and only. He seems to be the proprietor of this establishment, which they have it set up like it's an actual, like it's a pool hall with an arcade, like a business. Why is it that cops show up and immediately every single person bolts? If you're at a legitimate business, why are you just running? I didn't understand that.
I don't know. Maybe.
Well, but there were even like adults in there that all ran. I was like, what is going on? I was a little confused by that.
That went down.
I mean, I know that it shows like they're. So Raheem and Bishop are like. It seems like they're hustling pool, like they're betting, playing for money, whatever. Which, yeah, I guess that's not technically legal and whatnot. But I really don't think that would be cause to just. Oh, cops are here, I'm running for my life type thing. Because I think is it Raheem and Q that are the ones running, or is Bishop one of them? The two that are specifically running from like the cops, they're like hopping fences and running up buildings, and
Everyone runs with Steel. Steel stays,
that's because he's playing Street Fighter.
right?
And he's so engrossed in the game that he has no idea about the chaos that's going on around
But
him.
exactly, but it's not like Steel wasn't arrested or anything.
No, they just.
He like met up at a later time. They didn't explain what happened or anything. It kind of was just a thing that happened.
Well, it just all they did with Steele was it showed the cops kind of like put their hand on his shoulder, and the next time you see him, he walked out of the police station and then ran to his friends, and the cops still chased him after they had just let him go. Again, I was like, why are we running? Like, I don't understand
maybe,
this.
Maybe the cops just wanted to ask questions, but their instinct was to run.
Like they were hoping they would snitch on somebody.
And run. Maybe they wanted questions. And by running from the cops, I guess that is a crime. I don't know.
I mean, it doesn't look good. That's for sure. It doesn't look good on you if the minute a police officer shows up, your first instinct is to turn and run.
Those cops were going too hard at trying to.
Yeah, they were there for a purpose, but we just never found out what it was.
Actual New York cops, they're not going to actually put in that much effort to try and catch a couple of kids that didn't do anything.
Exactly. It
all jump over the fence and.
It all just kind of felt out of place. That was all.
Yeah, if it was like obvious illegal stuff happening, though, and like drug activity, legal activity, and shit like that, that was the reason why they came. It's not like they were pressing Samuel L. Jackson character, who I
No.
runs.
I'm pretty sure he just stood there, and the cops all walked
Yeah.
in, and just
They
walked
would-
right
yeah.
by him.
He would be one of the first people that the cops would go after, or at least question.
But I mean, obviously, this scene goes to set up the fact that life is hard for these guys.
They don't like authority or authority figures.
Exactly. So, I mean, it kind of the way the movie is framed is there's kind of only two ways that a lot of them view that they'll be able to get out of it, and that's Q on one hand wants to enter this DJ contest because he's like, if I win this, I book a 6-month engagement with at this club or whatever, and I could actually make some decent money, make a name for myself, build on that, and really be able to like kind of go off on my own and get out of this neighborhood type thing. And then Bishop, he is just enamored. They show him watching some old crime jail movie. I didn't have a chance to look up what it was, but he just seems to be enamored with the whole criminal lifestyle. Like that's his way of I'm going to make my money, and he's pushing really hard for that's what we need to do. Whereas, and then Raheem and Steele are kind of caught in the middle. Like, do we agree with one? Do we agree with the other? Do we kind of, abstain and just not say anything. Like, even in that scene when they're at, I believe they're at Steele's house. Yeah, because they break the vase and he flips out. But the two of them kind of get into it, like, about what is the better way to kind of advance themselves. And it gets heated between two quote unquote best of friends quite quickly over seemingly almost nothing. It seems like these two are just ready to go at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, I mean, it paints a picture quickly of Bishop's character and what ultimately he wants is the juice, which is power and respect. And he's willing to have that by any means necessary. And you can tell by his love of the movie that he's watching, where this prisoner character is basically dying, going out in the blaze of glory, and he's hello,
Yeah, I'm here.
and he is so enthralled with that. Uh, you can tell he kind of wants that for himself, but he wants to go out in the blaze of glory, and he wants that respect and power that comes with the juice.
Well, I mean, we keep saying that word. I think this would have been probably the best scene that they could have really initially brought up that term, because this is when they could have. It's just because it's just the four of them. There's no outside interference. There's no noise. They're just in one of their apartments, just kind of chilling, having a relaxing time. And this is when they kind of could have started talking about, this is what we need to do to get the juice. We need respect. We need the street cred. And this is how we go about getting it. But instead, it just turns into like this screaming match, and then they start wrestling around, and Raheem being Raheem kind of seems almost like, I guess, the leader of their little group, because he's the one who's always trying to calm these two. I mean, mainly Bishop, but he seems to always be the one who's like, we got to put this behind us. We got to squash it. We've got to, like, level heads need to prevail, because you two going at one another is going to solve nothing.
Yeah.
And that works for a little while.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Yeah. But I mean, that, like you say, you've got the way Bishop's character is, where he only sees the one way to get this juice, this respect. And when Q has to go into this bar or whatever it is, because Raheem needs cigarettes, which I found really funny, because you see an old school cigarette vending machine, which I haven't seen one of those in probably 25 years, if not longer. They used to have one of those at the bowling alley that I bowled at when I was a kid, and I thought it was the funniest thing I had ever seen.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that.
I think that's the only one I ever saw, and it wasn't there very long. But in this bar, he goes in and he runs into an old friend who you find out from Q talking to him that this guy just got out of prison on parole.
You don't say.
And he goes, I got paroled like 3 days ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I think in the next sentence he says, he's like, I'm sticking the place up, and he pulls out a rifle or a shotgun.
I think it's a shotgun.
And he holds up the whole place, and he even says, Q, you want in on this? And he's like, no, I'm good. And just goes to sneak out. Well, as soon as he gets outside and tells his friends, Bishop's ready to just run in there and help him, because, again, he leans so hard towards that life of crime, that quick payday, that quick score, and if you were to pull this off, your name is going to get remembered type thing. and you're going to have, as they put in the movie, the juice. You're going to have
Yeah.
that respect and that street cred because you pulled this off.
And I think with Bishop, his motivation isn't driven by money at all. It's all about that power and respect and just fear that comes with the, having quote unquote the juice, and that's what he wants. He wants ultimately to have respect through fear in the streets, and he wants to be known as like that dude, that man, the man. And yeah,
I think so. I think one of the downfalls of this movie, and I think a part of it has to do with the fact that it came out in '92. The movie's only an hour and 35 minutes. Now, obviously, nowadays in 2025, you can't you're hard pressed to find any movie that's not animation to be less than an hour 50, 2 hours.
yeah,
I think a better way to frame this, because again, when this movie starts, you just see them getting up and going to get ready for school, and then just meeting up with one another. I think there almost should have been a character in the movie that's almost like a local higher up gangster or mob boss or something like that, that they could kind of reference through the movie and be like, he's what I want to like. I want to achieve that level of power. I want to. So there's some kind of reference point as opposed to just, I just want people to know who I am. Like,
yeah.
I think as a story, or as a script point, that would have been a better way to kind of get that point across. Because without it, it just kind of almost part of the movie. It almost just kind of seems like four teenagers just being jackasses.
But I see it feels like it was only Bishop that was chasing that goal. I don't think any of the other crew members cared about that.
No, it seems like they just kind of
Only,
wanted to hang out with one another and have a good time with their friends.
yeah. So you could have added a character like that for sure that Bishop looked up to, and that's why I wants to be that. But that was the direction that they want to add that character, I guess. But I think there's a theory as to why Bishop is the way he is when it comes to like his manhood and being disrespected and you know making sure that him and his crew ultimately are respected, feared, and regarded as angels is because I believe his father was in the movie, correct?
His father,
His
what?
father, his father was in the movie for like a brief second, for like a scene, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that's his father. And
Oh yeah,
then
the guy comatose, kind of watching the TV.
it, I forget who said it, but they briefly mentioned that his father was in prison, and there's a couple things that I could guess that would happen to him in prison that would make you kind of have a PTSD comatose
Mm.
state that clearly that man was in. It seemed like my theory is that his manhood was taken away in prison, and Bishop knows that.
And
So now,
he doesn't ever want his to be taken away.
exactly.
That, you know what, that actually makes a lot of sense when you say it that way.
But they didn't explain it enough in the movie, and I'm fan theorying it. But I think it's one of those things that's subtle if you read between the lines enough. I've seen this movie plenty of times, so I could catch those things
Hmm.
in my 30th rewatch of the movie.
Well, and then even in the scene where they're at Steele's house, they see on the news that Blizzard, I believe was his name, this friend of theirs who held up the bar, he was shot and killed in a shootout with the police. And immediately, again, Bishop is like, we should have been there. We should have been with them. And Omar Epps is like, no, because then there'd be 5 dead people instead of 1. Like, you're not thinking straight.
No. This entire movie is like a descent into the Bishop's madness.
I was going to say into madness.
And it only is accelerated once Bishop gets a hold of the gun. I think it's that moment, once that gun gets into his hand.
That's his power.
That's like the complete turning point where he is completely changed into this entity of just evil.
Well, because he even says, like, Q says, like, here, let me hold the gun, or let Raheem hold it. And he's like, I'm gonna fucking hold this. Don't you try and take this out of my hand. Like, it's like in that moment, that is his only source of power, and he's not going to give it up for anything to anybody.
Power corrupts. In that moment, you see it instantly.
I mean, what's so insane to me is the way this whole thing ends up going down, because Q has this audition for this DJ competition that he wants so badly to win, and his friends are like, okay, the show is Friday night at whatever time, we're going to use that show as an alibi, and then the 4 of us are going to sneak off in between your sets, or whatever you want to call it, and we're going to go rob this convenience store, because earlier in the movie their crew and another crew kind of had a little dust up in front of it, and the guy came out and pulled a gun on them, like, to say, get off, like, get out of here, go away. And Bishop, I mean, Raheem didn't like it, but Bishop specifically is like, he needs to pay. He needs to kind of feel the fear that we felt when we saw that gun. So their idea is, they're going to go and rob this bodega, this convenience store, and they're going to do it in the middle of this fucking big party competition, because they're like, well, people are going to see us there. You lose track of people at a party, so we can slip out, be gone for a matter of minutes, and then come back, and no one will be the wiser. Like, which, I mean,
The worst.
not to condone what they do, but it's not a terribly laid plan.
No.
The terrible part is the fact that you're going to go rob a bodega, and it seems like they end up getting like $60 out of the fucking till.
It looked like
Like,
was
it's
definitely less than $100.
it's not a big score, and in the process, while holding the gun on this shopkeeper, the owner, whatever, Bishop just hauls off and pops him right in the head.
Yeah. He was complying. He wasn't resistant at all.
No, and afterwards they're like, "What did you do?" And he's like, "Oh, he was making a move," and they're like,
No, he wasn't.
"He wasn't doing anything."
He knew at that moment when he said that he was bullshit.
Oh, 100% he did. But
Yeah.
as you say, this is the moment, like, the gun was where he got the power. The robbing of the bodega is when his downward spiral, where it really began, and he couldn't get out of it. Because even once he got the gun, if he would have thrown the gun away and said, you know what, maybe we'll do something else, maybe he would have been okay. But the minute he pulled that trigger, there was nowhere else to go.
Yeah, and he would have never given up the gun. He
Oh.
would have never given up that power.
No, you see that as the
Even
movie
if he just
goes.
even if he just somehow they talked him out of it, he still would have kept that gun.
No,
would
he-
have done something.
He would have had to do that on his own. Like, make that decision to get rid of it on his own. in order to have any chance at redemption whatsoever. Because immediately after, the four of them are together and they're all going, "What were you doing? Why would you do that?" And Raheem is the one who confronts him, and he says, like, "You got to give me that gun. We got to get rid of it. We have to." Like, he's now moved past, because he's like, "There's nothing we can do. We can't change what happened. We need to get ahead of it. We need to get rid of the gun." And the two of them kind of fight over it a little bit, and then once again, point blank, Bishop shoots one of his best friends and kills him, all because he tried to take, as we said, that power. This movie almost should have been called Gun, because it's not juice, it's the gun that gives him this power.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, juice is what they want, gun is what they have and what they use. Or he uses, I should say.
Oh yeah, he uses that gun a lot.
Now, I do want to ask. I mean, this whole DJing competition that Q does, it sounds pretty good, but I know nothing of like scratch DJ. Is
No?
that well? I mean, just from what I've seen in movies. But does this still go on, like the scratching? Because I know that records have now made a comeback, and it would be more like easily accessible type thing, especially if you wanted to use new music. But is this still a thing? Because I mean, most DJs that I see is all computerized now.
Well, yeah, that's like the newer era of DJ, but the old school DJs are still around, and they still have competitions like similar to this, but none, no competition is held to where they're basically playing at the same time. The structure in which that competition happened wouldn't happen. You wouldn't
Well,
have them at the same goddamn time playing. It's usually one after the other.
well, they weren't playing together. They were playing one then the
But it
other,
was
but they were playing for 20 seconds at a time.
Yeah.
That
They
seems
would have
real
more of a
quick.
stage. Yeah, they would have more of a stage.
Instead of what looked like
Or
instead of what looked like a scaffold that they were standing on top of.
like a tit for tat battle instead of like a performance.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it seemed kind of cool. Like,
Yeah,
it was fun to watch, but
that's true DJ. That is a true. That's the heart of DJ. I truly appreciate it.
well, what ends up sucking is Q ends up beating the reigning champion and making it to the finals, but he never gets to play because as he's about to start, the cops come in, and he immediately thinks that they're there because they know what happened, whereas all they want to do is tell Raheem's closest friends that he's been killed, and then just kind of ask them, like, kind of question them about it. But he immediately, it's almost like he thinks, like, we're caught. Like, they know what happened. There's no getting out of this. Like, he does look genuinely terrified when he sees those police.
And he should. 'Cause he doesn't know what's going on.
No, he just jumps to the worst conclusion.
Of course. Yeah. Which I would if I was going through that. My mind would have made up that I'm caught too.
Now, out of the three characters, when I'm curious about this, when they show them in the interrogation, who do you think you would be? So there's Bishop, who's openly defiant to these cops. There's Q, who's basically just continuously saying, "We didn't do anything. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who did it." And then there's Steele, who might as well be drowning in a puddle of his own tears.
Motherfucker was wet. His face was wet.
Now, I know who I would probably be in that situation. Who?
I'd be cute with like I'd probably be cute to be honest. Man, I don't know. because they're all supposed to be best friends. So if my best friend got killed by my other best friend in front of me,
That's a
they got
hard
both robbed.
position to be in.
But because they got killed, or one of them got killed, is because we robbed a store where that guy got killed. That's a lot, and I think it would be best to not say anything.
Well, and also you're also probably afraid because you've seen.
I wouldn't cry. I would be Steel. That's for goddamn sure.
See, I think
Put
I'd
that
be
on
Steel.
record. Really?
Well,
I
no,
get. Yeah, that's fine. No, I
I
get
think
it. I might be Steel.
I
I don't
think
know.
I'd probably be a combination of Steel and Q.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're in that situation, I mean, what option do you have? You could rat out Bishop, but then you know what he's like.
And you'd be known as a snitch.
Unfortunately, yes. Or you just keep your mouth shut. But the problem is, it's one of those situations where you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you tell the cops what happened, yeah, Bishop's probably going to get charged, yada yada, so on and so forth. But then you're labeled as a snitch. It gives, before he gets, like, if he ever were to get out, it gives him free reign to come after you, all those things. But then if you don't say anything, we then see the consequences of that too, because they basically they have to put up with him still. And even, like, as you see as the movie goes on, he's constantly preying on Steel, being like, you're going to come do whatever I tell you to do and you're not going to make a fuss about it. Like,
Yeah.
it's no longer friendship, it's manipulation through fear.
And there's another layer of just the black community not trusting the police, never wanting to work with the police. So there's like an added layer of that too as to why they didn't talk.
That's the
But
other thing, yeah.
Steel was on the verge. He was on the verge. You know he wanted it
I'm kind of surprised he didn't.
because that would have been the end of the movie.
True. But another aspect of this movie, and I found it kind of strange, is, and I'm guessing that I think he confided in her, but like Q through this movie is in a relationship with a woman, an older woman, who's probably in like her mid 20s, late 20s, whatever. But she's either going through or just went through a divorce, to the point where the first time you meet her, Q shows up to her apartment and her ex-husband is still there. And she's just packing up a box of his stuff to give to him for him to leave.
That was an awkward ass scene.
It really was. But I mean,
So awkward because motherfuckers in high school and the ex, I was like,
yeah, that's a little weird.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
But I mean, it almost, I feel like him having this relationship with her was a blessing for him, because it would allow him to have someone to at least kind of talk to and get things off his chest. Bishop doesn't care to get things off his chest because he seems to feel no guilt, even though he killed one of his best friends in cold blood.
I think it would have been better if it sort of been a girl from high school that knew everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the main reason why
I, I'm
they
not
had her be
surprised.
older, well, I think the reason is because later, spoiler alert, um, Bishop shoots Steele as well, and he lives, but he gets rushed into the hospital, and she's a nurse who sees him go by. I think that's one of the main reasons they made her character to be older as opposed to like just another high school student.
Yeah. Sure. But I'm not arguing. She's cute. She's very cute. She's a very attractive woman.
Yeah, I mean, and
I get why they put her in that movie.
the only issue I have with it is, like you say, she's in at least her mid-20s, if not older, and he's, as you say, I'm hoping he's a senior in high school.
I mean, the amount of times he skipped, I still got there.
Well, he's the he,
He's a
he
freshman.
he's the age of a senior, but he's equivalent to a freshman.
Yeah. Yeah, let's hope he's
These boys are going to be in high school till they're 26.
Yeah, let's hope so. Because if the roles were reversed, it'd be a whole lot of more talking about this choice relationship in this movie.
Oh, you mean if it was an older guy?
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
absolutely. Dating in high school, yeah, absolutely. Especially that big of an age gap. Going through a divorce, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so at this point, we've got Bishop has killed two people,
Yup.
and he has more to add because he then goes after the leader of the rival crew, gang, whatever you want to call it, and once again, just puts like 4 or 5 bullets in him and just walks away like nothing. Like he's now to the point where he is so comfortable with doing this, it's scary.
Yeah, yeah. That transition from like you could tell he was always like an edgy kid, with some he was probably some anger issues or emotional issues for sure. But yeah, the transition from that to like a homicidal maniac was
Well, now
chilling.
he's
It
taken
honestly felt rushed
he's taken 3 lives in the span of like days and doesn't seem to be phased. I mean,
at all.
even before that, he shows up at Raheem's wake at his mother's apartment and is like consoling Raheem's mother and sister.
Oh yeah,
Like that's sociopathic.
absolutely. And you
And you're right, it happens so quick.
so quickly. Even though there's subtle hints in the beginning, it ramps up to like a 13. It goes from like 1 to 100 in a matter of a millisecond.
Well, and you had said this before we had come on air when we were talking. Like from basically this point to the end of the movie, we are at full throttle, 100 miles an hour all the way to the end. There is no real slowing down. Like
The plot is sprinting to the end of this movie. All right, man.
well, and again,
Can we take
like
some time to breathe for a minute?
well, and again, like the fact that he has no remorse for killing these people. As I said earlier, he shoots Steele, his other best friend, because he basically threatened him to come out to the pool hall with him, and then Steele makes a phone call to Q, basically saying like, "Yeah, I'm at the pool hall because Bishop more or less forced me to come here." Bishop finds out that he made a phone call, and just basically that's basically the reason that he shoots him.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like
I thought he was
how dare you?
cops on him or something. I understand why someone got shot with that phone call. I was like, as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, yeah, it's definitely gonna show. Even though I knew that prior to, I forgot that conversation through the phone happened. Yeah. At this point, I can only imagine what's going through Bishop's head, but paranoia is definitely one of those emotions going through it right now.
Oh yeah, he's beyond paranoid. And then once he shoots Steele, he now all of a sudden becomes this quote unquote almost like a criminal mastermind because he gets the idea that, you know what? I'm going to frame Q for all of this. So he starts I don't know if he starts telling people or how it starts getting around, but you can tell by the way people are reacting to Q, and you can tell that he's putting all the blame on him. And so obviously Q is like, well, we got to do something about this. We have to have this confrontation. So he tells Sam Jackson, you tell Bishop to meet me. I forget where he says that. Just like every other movie, meet me at midnight in this dark alley. Like, fuck, meet
Favorite places.
at an intersection where there are streetlights and witnesses.
Nah, it's behind the back alley right quick.
But then that's Q goes and gets a gun, and then before the meetup, he throws it in the fucking river.
I know, right? Just waste all that money.
And I get that he doesn't. He has a change of heart because he doesn't want to kill him, and I respect that. But now you're also walking into a meeting with, as you put it, a homicidal maniac, and you have got zero defense.
Yeah, I mean, he could have kept it just to defend himself, but
That's what I'm saying.
he didn't want to resort to that, even though Bishop's character was 100% going to resort to that.
Oh, it's like he was looking forward
There's
to
no
it.
hesitation. And at this point, Bishop has gone full slasher Michael Myers,
I,
with
dude,
even having his own Michael Myers moment.
dude, the way they frame that shot with Omar Epps in the foreground, and then
Jason shit.
he just steps out of the darkness. That looked fucking sweet.
Yeah, it was a very impactful moment. And yeah, it catches you off guard. Even though it's framed the way it is, you don't expect that to happen. And then when
No.
it happens, you just, whoa.
I will say we briefly skipped over it. It does. One of the things I did love, and it does show how little these guys actually go to school. Because after Raheem is shot, it shows Q going to school, and you get a Donald Faison cameo with a very, very high top.
Yeah,
But
weird.
it shows that he doesn't, like, that scene right there shows how little they go, because Donald Faison even comes up to him as Q's at his locker, and he makes a comment like, "Oh, I'm surprised you remembered where it was."
Oh yeah.
So
I
what?
was so distracted by the hair.
The hair.
I didn't even realize what he said. I'm not gonna lie.
It was for someone who's seen Donald Faison for years with the same hairstyle.
What hairstyle? It's bald. Wasn't he bald in Clueless? Was he bald in Clueless? Am I going crazy?
Oh, he might have had his head shaved, but you know what I mean. Like, you've seen
Yeah.
him the same, and then he shows up in this movie looking like fucking Kid and Play.
Seeing anybody you're used to seeing with like little to no hair with hair is a total mind fuck. Every time.
It's almost like when you see, and it's not even necessarily with hair, but even like a drastically different hairstyle. Like, the ones I always find funny is when you go back and watch like Dazed and Confused and see Ben Affleck with like the Beatles hair, or McConaughey with the long hair down to like his jawline. But yeah, it really caught me off guard. I had to do like a double take. I was like, I think that was Donald Faison. But that sure shit don't look like Turk.
Yeah, I started thinking, I was like, when the fuck did Clueless come out? Wasn't it like 94?
94 or 96.
Yeah. It's okay.
95, right in between.
Yeah, he played. Damn, he had a good run of playing teenagers. But he seemed way older in Clueless. I'm not even gonna lie. Maybe just because
Well, how about
Bald
this?
head.
He played he played a high school student in this in 1992, and famously he's Petey and Remember the Titans, a high school student.
Oh shit! That came out in
Nine
99?
nine years later in 2001.
Oh, like not 2001.
Oh, sorry, 2000.
Oh, 2000.
So he was playing teenagers for 8 years minimum.
Dude, there's a black actress that has been playing a teenager for like 30 years. I forget her name, but she, dude. There's just these black actors that could play these young roles
It's
for their whole life. It's insane.
it's what I'm saying. There are some things that they say are true, and black don't crack.
It's all that cocoa butter lotion we use. That definitely contributes to it.
That's what I haven't been doing.
I'm telling you, that's the secret. I shouldn't have cut that out. Cut that out of the podcast.
I'll edit that out. Yeah, so I mean, so back to the where we were at in the movie, you get that really cool reveal scene, and then immediately the two start fighting, and number one, I was immediately questioning it because Bishop's whole plan is I'm going to frame Q. Well, it's kind of hard to frame him if you shoot him.
Yeah. I mean, unless you shoot him in a way that it's a murder-suicide.
Or like you can somehow claim self-defense.
Yeah.
But then it goes from they're in a dark alley to they're just running down the street and he's firing his gun wildly, and it's like, okay, people are gonna see this.
Oh, yeah. And especially in New York, isn't it? You know, one of the most...
Yeah, they're in Harlem, so his plan went right out the window.
Almost immediately.
Well,
But I feel like him framing Q would go against him. I feel like he's the type of character that...
because then he wouldn't get the recognition.
Exactly. He
And the
doesn't
whole-
care about that, even if that means he's a wanted criminal to the police.
Yeah, I don't understand his logic or why he's doing it, but of course, like this chase down the streets culminates in. So he tags him once. He gets him in the arm, and Omar Epps Q kind of escapes into a building where it is the fucking busiest lobby to an apartment building I've ever seen. There's like 45 people.
New York, baby!
And him, along with like 25 people, pile into this elevator.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes, because it truly shows you how crazy this motherfucker
Oh, he's nuts.
He don't give a fuck about life. I mean, he does mention it earlier in the movie that he doesn't give a fuck about anything, even himself.
As you alluded to in your intro.
Which explains his character entirely. Like, he just doesn't give a fuck about anything. And
Which
all
is-
he cares about is just... I think he's dead. I think he literally just had a death wish. I don't think he cared about anything except for just dying in the blaze of glory. I think he wanted to die, to be honest. In a way. But a lot of his motivations didn't reflect that. But I think...
Well,
himself definitely wanted that.
I even wrote down that scene when they're in Steele's apartment and he's watching that movie that he's so into. Is he says something about, because the guy like blows up or whatever with the building in the movie, and he says that's how you do it. You go out in a blaze of glory. And I wrote, is that some kind of foreshadowing? Like, is that how he? Because I've never seen it before, so I was like, is that how he's going to go out, or is that just kind of what his goal is? To, if he ever, like when he does die, get killed, whatever, is that he'll go out in that type of way, like a take no prisoners type of thing.
100%.
And this scene in the elevator shows that, because again, there's like 10 to 15 people in this tiny ass elevator, and all it takes is Q to say like one word to him, and he pulls that gun out and fires. And of course, everybody panics as.
He's like, "What you gonna do? Shoot me, bro?" He's like, "He's exactly what I'm gonna do."
Yep.
Like, fuck you think you talking to you?
And then they end up meeting on the rooftop. Because he loses the gun because they start again. There's no real fighting in this movie. It's more like grown men wrestling, like just grappling one another.
If you're gonna accredit this movie to having a fight, I guess it would be this one because there are swinging and misses and hits.
Once they get on the roof, there is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but he loses the gun, so when they get to the roof, he has to resort to a 2x4 swinging like a baseball bat.
Yeah.
But they get in a little scuffle, and
Gets a couple licks in, right?
they both do, but then Bishop ends up going over the edge, and immediately, and this just shows the humanity of Q's character. Despite everything Bishop has done and what he's done to Q, to all of their friends, he is still holding on to his hand for dear life, like he's holding on to a brother. And
They kind of are. I mean, if they grew up together, it kind of is.
yeah, but I don't know if I would still have that same feelings towards someone if they had straight up killed one of my best friends, tried to kill another, and then tried to frame and tried to kill me.
Yeah, I think in that moment he was just holding on to that last shred of love he had for that character, and he probably is. It would have been cool if they would have transitioned to like seeing their younger selves kind of type shit, but that's showing us that's what he sees. He's seeing
Yeah.
the child, you know what I mean, just to make more of an impact.
Yeah, I know what you
But
mean.
yeah, I feel like it shows you like how good of a character Q is, and he's still, despite all that, can still do it. But
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, he can't hold on, and
nope.
he drops. And again, with the framing of this shot, I've never been to New York. With as many people that live there and buildings and lights, I don't think there's any alleyway that is completely dark. But he just drops into the darkness like he was a fucking Batman villain who got thrown off the roof.
It's like the darkness swallowed him, so you didn't really hear
The thud.
No, maybe you hear a sound and it's like drowned.
I didn't notice one.
Sound effects. It just seemed like once he fell into the darkness, it's like everything just swallowed him completely.
And what I was kind of...
Which I guess maybe that's why he framed it that way, is a metaphor in a way, if you really want to look into it.
He was consumed by his own darkness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know the mindset of the writers or the director, but it's very possible. I mean, it makes sense when you think of it that way. But what I was kind of taken aback by is immediately Omar Epps turns around, and apparently every person in this apartment building, there's like 100 people standing there.
Oh, shit. Wait a minute. You guys all just watch? You guys watch this?
But
y'all didn't help me.
But the funniest part is they see it, so presumably they would have been there for the whole 30, 40 seconds that he's trying to hold on to him, and like you say, nobody comes over to help, and they all look at him like you just killed him in cold blood. No, that was clearly self-defense, and he tried to save him.
Didn't y'all just see me try to fucking pull this man up, bro? All right.
They all look at him with such anger and fear, like, how could you... And I'm like, were you people not watching the same thing that we were?
Unless they all simultaneously came up at
As
the
he
exact
dropped.
moment they teleported. Fucking
They're all in the
they
stairwell.
tele-
They're all in the stairwell. Okay, it's pretty
only he
quiet.
fell.
It's pretty quiet. Maybe we should go take a look. Oh my god, he dropped him.
Oh, he definitely murdered him. Definitely murdered him. All right, let's just stare at him and nothing really comes to it.
Well, and that's the last line of the movie, and it just comes out of nowhere because it's the guy who, in the beginning, wanted to buy the tape off of him, and he said, I don't remember the exact line, but he says something like, "You really got the juice now," and then zoom in on Omar Epps' face, freeze frame, and we're out.
Right?
I was like, that's how you end this movie?
I didn't even realize the movie ended like this. I totally forgot. I watched this a lot when I was younger, but I haven't rewatched it in so long. So I totally forgot that it just ended. It just ended.
I know. I was kind of like, there's no
No resolve.
there's no resolution. There's no, oh, Q went back to school and he this or that, or he was arrested. Like, there's nothing. You don't know if what his
He's
life.
dead? Like
Well, you don't know what his life is after that. Did Steele survive?
did we and we didn't get no exactly. We get none of that. It just ended. It's like, is there a juice too?
Who won the
Juice coming, right?
Who won the DJ battle? What's Queen Latifah doing?
What? Is Samuel Jackson still running that fucking pool hall?
These are important questions need answering.
Does he still have the pump? Are the pumps intact? That's all
They
I
better
need.
be.
These are the questions.
But yeah, that's juice. That
It is juice.
I think they could have come up with a better. I almost think even the juice would be better as a title. I don't know why. It's like the opposite of the thing.
Yeah.
It's like the opposite of the Facebook thing. Add the. It's cleaner.
Because I don't think it was a term of slang that anyone's ever said.
Like it was just completely made up for this movie.
I wouldn't doubt that. I'm pretty sure. It's not a thing anyone's ever said in any rap song or
Just go on
any
vacation.
other movie besides this.
Just go take a trip to Harlem and start asking people. They'll be like, "The fuck are you talking about?"
Right? What's that much? Kool-Aid? Combo. Yeah. No, yeah.
Yeah, we're-
Really not.
Where's the juice? Well, the store sells apple and orange and.
Got peach juice. All types of cherry juice.
Or they'll respond like fucking Dave Chappelle. We got juice. We got grape drink.
Purple.
Sugar water purple.
Fuck it.
But as I said, that's juice. I mean, I really don't have much else. It's a pretty simple and streamlined plot to get through. The only thing I wanted to touch on in it was something that I had brought up to you before we started recording. So this movie came out in 92. Presumably would have been filmed in 91, as usually that's how the way movies are done. Now, growing up, my first introduction to Omar Epps was in the baseball movie Major League 2, where he takes over for Wesley Snipes as Willie Mays Hayes. That movie came out only 2 years after this. In those 2 years, from this movie to that movie, I swear to God, Omar Epps looks like he aged 10 to 15 years. It's wild.
I mean, living through the events of Juice probably took a couple of years, honestly. Very stressful.
I think part of it is because, so if you watch those movies, in the first Major League, Wesley Snipes, you know his body type. He's lanky, he's skinny.
Yeah, skinny Wesley Snipes.
Whereas in the second movie, that same character kind of shows up and he's like, I'm a power hitter now. I swing for the fences. So he's like been working out. So I think Omar Epps just kind of got kind of buff for the role. So he's considerably bigger than he is in this movie.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, I also told you that in that movie he has a very different hairstyle that
Oh yeah.
that kind of looks more adult, and he also wears about 12 gigantic gold chains around his neck.
That would definitely make you older. That combination of things.
But it was funny as I'm watching it. I'm like, only 2 years, man. He looks like he went from 17 to 31.
At least your first introduction to Omar Epps wasn't fucking House. I would have been like, bro, this guy got hits. He's got hits.
No, honestly, my first.
At least with the wood.
I was gonna say that would have been that probably would have been my second one. Would have been Major League Two in the Wood, and then Love and Basketball, and then it was House.
He's good.
Everyone was good in House.
He's also, I forget what he's doing recently. He did something good recently. It's pretty good. He does a lot of shows now.
No, I like Omar Epps. I've always been a fan of his.
Just one of those actors that I just wish had that big break where he could have been a bigger name. There's a lot of actors that just didn't get that moment, that role, that defining role that.
I mean, unfortunately,
He's in a movie. Did you ever watch In Too Deep? That's a fucking great movie.
no.
With LL Cool J. LL Cool J. It's kind of like Omar Epps is a cop, and he's kind of like Donnie Brasco, but hood version.
No, now I'm looking it up now. I recognize the poster, but I've never seen it.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I think everybody in this movie did a really good job. I really like Omar Epps, and unfortunately, I think part of the reason he didn't get more recognition, and it really sucks, is unfortunately it was like a Hollywood racist thing.
Yeah, I mean, there was only room for
It sucks
a
because
couple leading black men in Hollywood.
you had Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, Jamie Foxx, Denzel, like they're.
At that time though, like the '90s, it was just Denzel Washington and Wesley Snipes.
I mean, like young guys like his age.
Yeah, so like maybe just Wesley Snipes in the '90s. I'm talking about the '90s. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, everything that I've personally seen Omar Epps in, I thought he was great. I thought he was really good in this movie, and I couldn't believe how good Tupac was in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's the center of this movie.
And I mean, talk about legend, like R.I.P. Tupac, but good God.
You could see the potential, this being his first role in a movie, and seeing other roles that he's in other movies being just as good. You could tell like he was on his way to being hands down like the best rapper turned actor, but and considered probably a really good. He could have got an Oscar if his career path would have
Yeah.
went that trajectory, right? If he would have chose acting, I think he would have had an Oscar, at least nominated.
Absolutely. Now, Jermaine Hopkins, who played Steele, I don't know who this is. I don't recognize him from anything else I've ever seen. I mean, in this, he did what he was supposed to do. He was the chubby comedic relief amongst his friends. Been there, done that.
Yeah. And he had a run in the '90s. I think he was in Stand By Me. Or no. Yeah, Stand By Me. That's Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman. I always get those two mixed up. He was in a couple things. He was in a couple TV shows, I believe. He had just a really short run in the 90s and then kind of fizzled out.
Hmm.
But he's been in things.
Now, the other main of the four, Khalil Kane,
Yeah.
I only recognize him from one other main role.
Like a Fresh Prince.
No, it's a it's a movie with starring Danny DeVito and Gregory Hines.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm gonna make you watch this one day. It's called Renaissance Man.
Okay.
It's a movie where Danny DeVito gets laid off from his job, and the unemployment office, because he has a master's degree, says that he can be a teacher, and so they have him teach a group of like stupid, like I think there's like 6 or 7 of them, privates in the army,
Okay, I think I've seen that movie
and it has
on like a Sunday.
dude, it has Stacey Dash, it has Kadeem Hardison from,
I did. Yeah.
and it's got a very very young Mark Wahlberg.
I think I seen this on like TBS on a Sunday.
Yep.
They play random movies. I'm pretty damn sure.
Oh, and the best part, it has the second iteration of Raiden, James Remar. It's on. I believe it's on Disney Plus. If you have a chance, just check it out.
Dad? You talking about Dexter's dad?
No, it's Raiden.
Nah, he's Dexter's dad now, bro. I'm sorry.
No, if I believe it's on Disney Plus. If you have a chance, just check it out. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I'll have to.
But yeah, I think that's going to move us into our final thoughts on this movie. You made this pick, so why don't you take it? Why don't you take it away?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, this movie has been a part of my life for a very long time. I think I watched this movie way, 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 way too young, and it kind of it scared me because of the Bishop character, and I think that's why I'll never forget it. Um, to me, this movie is just so raw, untouching tragedy with you know some soul to it. It's a bleak, realistic look at ambition, brotherhood, and the destructive pursuit of power. Uh, I think the movie is anchored by 4 exceptional performances, and the chemistry between. It's anchored by the 4 exceptional performances of 4 friends, and the chemistry between those friends. It feels authentic, and it just makes the eventual fracturing all more painful. Uh, I I really enjoyed it. I recognize that it's a coming of age drama, but it's disguised as a psychological thriller. Um, Tupac's performance is definitely unforgettable, powerful. You see what power does to a person when they kind of feel powerless in a way, or always wanted to feel powerful, and it sacrificed everything for it. I would recommend this movie for anyone who just wants to see it, who's into dramas and is very curious and movie like this, um, yeah, uh, yeah, I totally just would recommend it for anybody who likes a solid movie. I definitely recommend it to anybody who likes early hip hop because it's sprinkled throughout this movie. Um, Great performances, uh, and definitely a cautionary tale that remains as relevant and terrifying today as it was in 1992 with the whole, gun situation being, the plot of the movie and how much people think they have power by having a gun. Uh, yeah, definitely would recommend for anybody who wants to see that in the lens of too. I would give this movie a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you said. The chemistry between the four main characters is undeniable. It does just seem like a group of friends going through life in the inner city and how cutthroat I guess it can be. But yeah, it definitely is a cautionary tale of that whole absolute power corrupts absolutely because again you get Tupac's character the minute he has that little bit of power he won't give it up for anything and he is willing to take down everybody in his way to keep it. Yeah, I couldn't have said it better. It's a very enjoyable movie. I mean, there's a lot of heavy stuff in it, but overall to watch it, I think it's a good watch, and I would recommend it. I think most people would enjoy it. It does. There are some things that seem kind of a little bit discombobulating, but overall, as a whole, it's a pretty streamlined story. Like we had said, it's a little bit short in terms of they could have fleshed out a few things had they made it a little bit longer, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. I personally, I'm right along the lines with the IMDb. I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10, and as I said, I would recommend it. So, that will bring us to the end of our episode on Juice, and next week, for our next episode, as we roll on with our back to school month, you are going to hate me right now so much, but I do not give a shit. Because for our next episode, you know where I'm going.
Is it a football movie?
Oh, you bet your ass it's a football
God
movie.
Damn it, no.
We are going to West Canaan, Texas, and Bud Kilmer's Coyotes as we watch the 1999 movie Varsity Blues.
AKA, I think the only movie my sister walked out of.
That's the only thing I know about this movie. Is that my sister watched this movie and she walked out of the theater.
And I love this movie on a very deep level.
Well, my sister has a very specific taste, so it makes sense. It was just, that's my only knowledge of the
Have you never seen
like,
it?
I know who's in it.
Oh.
I've seen scenes, I just never seen it in its entirety.
I'm guessing you've seen the Thunderstruck scene.
I think so, yeah.
Well, I'm hoping you're in for a treat, but I really don't know how you're going to take this one.
Jeez.
But I personally I'm extremely looking forward to watching this movie. I've loved this movie since it came out as cringy and bad as it probably actually is. I've always had a real soft spot for this movie. So join us for our next episode as we watch Varsity Blues. And for now, subscribe to our socials, which as usual I will put in the show notes. And tell your friends to listen in and help us grow the podcast. We'd really appreciate it. So until next time, thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for subscribing. Take it easy.
Peace.